Greetings, dear chess fans and experts. This is FIDE Master Max Omariev with you. And today, we look at the hot Armageddon from the US Women's Chess Championship, where Irina Krush played against Jennifer Yu. Irina Krush is famous for once throwing her king in the end of the game in Armageddon against Anna Zatonskih. But this time, her opponent blundered a bishop in the opening. Let's see what that led to. Let me remind you what Armageddon is. White has a bit more time on the clock, but black has draw odds, meaning that if Jennifer Yu won the game, then she becomes the champion. It's often asked which color is better to play in this case. Many people prefer white, but personally I think that playing for black is more reliable. But considering that there's no time increments, white is preferable since you can flag your opponent. So let's proceed to the game itself. The US champion Irina Krush against Jennifer Yu. A young Jennifer Yu. Here we have the ready opening. Black arranges the pieces in the center and white plays an inverted old Indian defense, or we can also name it the King's Fianchetto opening. e5, capturing the center. Black wants to play e4 on occasion to displace the knight, so white must somehow prevent this. Preferably, play d3 so you don't have to worry about e4. That's how Irina plays. Knight e7, knight b d2. White prepares a breakthrough e2, e4. And they break through after short castling from black. Jennifer Yu hesitates. After all, she sits opposite a many times USA champion, and also this woman can throw a piece into her if something goes wrong, so she must be careful. And Irina now thinks how to develop the attack on the king side. Well, she definitely needs to remove the knight to move the pawn to f4. This is exactly what Irina does. Knight to e1. Knight c6. And now she should move the pawn to f4. Yep, drumroll. And bishop g4. This is the very moment she let go of the piece. Let's watch it again. She realized that she had just set up the bishop, a totally stupid move. Yes, it's a shame. But still, there's the touch move rule. If you let go of the piece, you can't move it to a different square, so she had to give away the bishop. And this is the final of the US Championship, a decisive game. Of course, after such games, a lot of people start saying that women are absolutely not meant for chess. Better go cook me some lasagna, woman, but there's a problem. And secondly, the conclusion is a little untimely, because everyone can make mistakes when nervous, so let's see how the game ended. Let's take another look at this voluptuous moment. Bishop g4, she just gives away the bishop. Well, of course, no one expected such surprises. Irina Krush has probably already started singing. You know that famous pop song from the 90s? Well, let's get back to the game. f5 is played, queen and piece. Well, of course, this is just an illusion of some resistance. Queen moves to e2. White has an extra piece, absolutely winning position. Queen d7. But you should give credit to Jennifer. She didn't give up, because 90% of chess players would have simply given up because of the inevitable feeling of shame and disgrace of what was played. Irina got a little tense. After all, when you have a winning position, you begin to think how to play it as safely as possible with a margin of safety. Rook e8. Fe is a clever strategy to exchange more pieces so that you end up with a clean extra piece. The knights are exchanged. Actually, we can't say that black resists perfectly here since she allows all these exchanges. Ef is played. Knight f5. Here already the e-file is starting to be attacked, so knight e4 to protect the queen. The knight has a great position. It can potentially move forward in some cases, and also the g3 square is fortified. White plays with a margin of safety, great position, absolutely no chance for salvation. b6 is preparation for c5. Irina plays bishop b2. c5 is played. Some sort of offensive plan on the queen side. Rook f2. She wants to double the rooks on the f-file to exchange the rooks too, to exchange everything that's unnecessary. Rook e7. Well, she has to do something. Rook f1. And what should she do now? She moves the f-rook to e8. Bishop h3, f5 hangs. She wants to capture pieces another 100 times and win an extra pawn, plus weaken the black king. The situation is disastrous. Of course, she cannot give up this knight and this pawn. She must somehow strengthen the f5 square. She has to play rook f7. Jennifer Yu just treads water. So what should Irina do now? The moment is crucial. And here she seems too optimistic about her position. It was necessary to play carefully. Queen f3, queen g2, move the queen to a safe position and then make all sorts of exchanges so that the queen does not get under attack anywhere. This is way safer just to keep yourself out of trouble, but she plays g4. I love such moves, but in this situation the black diagonal, the h2 square, is weakened. Although of course the position remains absolutely won, but some fun begins. Just a little bit. You can say that this is some kind of comedy show. It's just a little bit of fun. Knight d6. And we need to protect the knight here somehow. The easiest way is to play bishop g2 to strengthen the knight, and don't worry about it at all. But knight takes d6 is played, allowing a small combination. Queen is under attack. And after bishop h2, the queen hangs. Well, here of course she must play rook h2 to stay with a lot of extra pieces. But instead, having a huge margin of time, Irina makes an absolutely strange choice. We'll just take that h2 rook. And there you go, you have a whole set of extra pieces. The game is easily won. But here she starts to get nervous. She blundered that hit because the fight is somewhat escalated, though even here White's position remains won. Still, Jennifer Yu manages to spice things up, but Irina can't decide on her move. She's been thinking for a long time. She plays king h2. That's totally weird, why are you walking into check? The knight captured with check. That's very strange, I can't understand it. The knight just got taken in with check. She could have kept the knight, but no, she decided to give it away with a check. In doing so, she thought for practically a minute, and now she keeps thinking, but this is the nerves, or the previously mentioned song Crush played in her head at full volume, but here already another song should be chosen, something more dramatic. I think she's got a whole orchestra in her head because she really didn't expect that. The fight escalates, the position is more even, although even here White has a huge advantage, especially from the game point of view. But I remind you that they play without the increments, the time is running out, and a slight tilt begins. Her hand is hovering over the king, but she can't decide where to retreat, although it doesn't matter much here. Well, king h1 is of course safer, you know, to prevent queen g3 check. Rook e2, exchange. Well, actually she just gave away the queen. Now anyway, White has a rook and two bishops against the queen. That's a big material advantage, of course. Queen d5 is a bad move. Well, she counts on queen g2. This is such a child's trap, but king g1 is played. The rook wasn't blundered. Apparently Jennifer Yu sets her opponent at defiance because she allows herself to make such traps. And now she has to face reality. She still plays to hold the material, counting on flagging White. The position is hopeless after all. A rook and two bishops are much stronger than a queen. The rooks are exchanged. The queen is trying to invade, make some fuss, attack the pawn. While g5 is an elementary move, to fix more pawns on the king's side, it solves the last minute problems. And it remains only to technically bring the game to victory, but there's less than a minute on the clock and there are no increments. This instills a certain optimism in Jennifer's heart. She gives check, just stalling for time. But Irina begins to think of every move. You have little time, just cover yourself. Play rook g2, this is an elementary move. Why are you thinking? Stop thinking. Queen d1. Yes, this invasion is a bit stressful because the pawn hangs, but we can play bishop f4 and the pawn is safe. Here Jennifer already realizes that there's not much to attack. She can of course play queen b1, but everything will be defended, so she's looking for how to muddy the waters as much as possible and knock her opponent out to flag her. She plays queen f3 attacking the bishop. She wants to huddle around the king to give check on occasion. Where does the bishop go? That's the question. On bishop e5, queen e3 check, so rook f2, queen g4 check, bishop g2. Here's another check from the d1 square. She announces a lot of checks, a lot of extra moves, and that means that White's time is wasted. Nice series of moves, but she still needs to drag her feet. Queen e1, bishop d5 check. White begins the invasion. Bishop g3 is an intelligent retreat. Rook f7 with queen win threatens. We must somehow prevent this immediately. The opponent has very little time left, a few seconds. I put up a close-up of the dial so you can watch the clock, but White has no time left at all. Just some 23 seconds. Jennifer's catching up though, but here comes the mutual time trouble frenzy. King g2 is a just-in-case move to... It's not clear what this move is for. It's actually a pointless move. She could have avoided it. Jennifer plays pawn to h5. Here we can play bishop e4, but rook f7 check. Invasion. Okay. The queen can come in through e2 somewhere. That's what's bugging me. I would somehow prevent invasions of all kinds. King f1. This is how she tries to keep it out, but queen e3. Well, Irina plays completely loose. She checks. Another check. Black is happy with the draw. It's Armageddon, so it's not an option. Bishop f2 is not a good tactic. The g5 pawn is taken. In general, Irina is falling apart and the time is less and less. Bishop e4, trying to press on the g6 pawn. Bishop f2, another check. Check. That's it. It's a fiasco, because here Irina made an illegal move. She played king g1 in check. The judge adds time to her opponent, which means the collapse of all hopes. She could have flagged Jennifer too. She only had 3 seconds on the clock and now Jennifer is given a full minute. Those are the rules. If you made an impossible move, your opponent is given an extra minute. And obviously that means total surrender. It's hard to imagine the frustration Irina felt at this moment. But she tries to fight as hard as she can. There was some kind of glitch with the clock. It had to be restarted again. And this pause literally suffocates Irina, the last remnants of the will, because, you'd wish to get rid of this game as soon as possible. Of course, a series of optimistic moves still followed there, in the last seconds, but in reality there was only one question. Would she throw a piece at her opponent's head or no? This time Irina showed humanity and decided not to throw the king, which means that Jennifer Yu becomes the US champion without any injuries. After such an insulting bishop blunder, her will was not broken, and she was able to bring the game to victory and became the US champion. She's a smart, beautiful, and strong-willed woman. So that's how Jennifer Yu blundered a full bishop but still went on to win that Armageddon game and clinch the US Women's Championship title. And I thank you for your attention. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, give this video a like, and don't forget to hit the bell button as well to make sure you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Keep playing and studying chess, and I'll see you soon.